Do you remember anything specific from the day I was born?
No, except you were cute, I remember that. Not really.
No, it was a while
because
ago.
it's a long time ago, and don't forget there were four of you.
Yeah.
So in my own mind, I could be probably confused about which one it was she was, you know.
The cute one was me, so you're right. You're right about that one.
And Simon wasn't born then.
Yeah.
Huh?
And Simon wasn't born
Simon wasn't
Neither
born
was
then,
Ty.
then. No, that's right.
What was your initial opinion of my dad?
He's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
He was pretty straightforward. I would say that he was a little bit of a phenomenon to me because you don't often find people that are straightforward and honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the impression that he was an honest person. Now, the first impression I got when I first saw him,
Yeah.
he was in a convertible,
Yeah. What color?
sort of a greyish colour.
Okay.
In a convertible, and he drove up in a convertible, and I sort of half jokingly said to Andrea, and I looked at him and I saw him getting out of the convertible. I said, "What's his name?" And she told me his name. I said, "You better watch out, he's a gangster."
Yeah. Mafia.
Yeah, he's a gangster. She told me his name. I said, "Italian, he's a gangster."
Yeah.
Because he was dressed nicely,
Yeah.
and he had this convertible. Yeah, that wasn't cheap. He's a gangster.
Yeah.
So, you know, so anyway, it was sort of half joking because
Yeah.
I didn't know John at that time.
Right.
Anyway, I learned to like him. You know,
Yeah.
I found he was a very likable person.
Yeah.
Very likable.
What are the major changes that you've noticed in society since the time when you were young until now? Like, what's like a big change? Like,
Oh, the electronics.
yeah.
Oh yeah, this stuff that's foreign to me. It's you know, I'm more or less a horse and cart age. This stuff is. I don't think it complicates things. It just makes me wonder why we would want to get into all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I realize the whole world's doing it. So
Have you noticed a change in the people?
yeah,
What is it, good or bad change?
bad.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's bad.
What?
But then again, I mean, there were bad people when I was a youngster. But now it seems to be more emphasized. It may be because of the media.
Yeah.
They seem to go overboard when they're doing something, and you get the impression that people are bad or worse than what they were before. I think perhaps they're not really worse.
Yeah.
It's just that it's more emphasized because of the media,
Mm-hmm.
and they've made it sound more. And the media, of course, they always emphasize things and they always exaggerate.
Yeah.
They make things into things that are probably 50, 60 years ago we wouldn't even give a damn about. You know, wouldn't take any notice. You know, we know about the disasters in the world and all that happens. But I'm sure many of these disasters happened when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever thought about it. And
Right.
probably that is because there was no media, or not the media we have now,
Yeah.
right? It's a mass, everything is mass.
Mm-hmm.
And everything is in your face kind of thing. You know, you don't have a chance to breathe because something else is going to happen. And it's right there. you
Yeah.
know.
Do you worry about where society is going?
Not really.
No.
I
Why?
really don't give a damn.
Yeah.
I'm an old man. I'll be dead soon. I don't give a damn. if they're not old enough right now to do the right thing, then they're never going to learn. So,
Yeah.
you know,
What do you miss about your childhood?
the simplicity of everything.
Yeah.
Things were very simple, very, shall we say, easy to manipulate.
Yeah.
Even when I was a youngster and left school, it was easy to get a job. Jobs were available. Well, the war was still on, of course, but jobs were available for youngsters. The money wasn't much good, but then again, it wasn't anywhere,
Yeah.
you know. So that's part of the simplicity too. Things weren't as complicated. You know, you either had a job or you didn't.
Yeah.
Nowadays you got to go like crazy just to try and get yourself employed. It wasn't that way, but then again, of course, today there's a lot more sophistication when it comes to, you've got to have bits of paper to say how wonderful you are. In the old days, although jobs were available, you didn't have to prove anything
Yeah.
until you got working. Then they would find out how good you were, and they would decide whether to keep you or not. Nowadays, you have to prove how good you are by going to university, right? So there's a difference. But then again, today, if you do eventually get employment, it's usually fairly something good. You know, usually maybe you can do something with it, you know. But in the old days, you usually got stuck in a certain rut and you stayed there.
Yeah.
Unless you just said, to heck with this, I'm leaving, you know. But then you had to be quite independent to be able to do that.
What are you the most proud of?
Proud of
Yeah, in your life.
my children,
Yeah.
yeah. They grew up in spite of their parents, and I think that's an achievement. You know, I'm being honest.
Yeah.
That to me is an achievement, because many children usually quite often follow the way their parents are. And our children never did that.
No.
They went their own individual way. They did their own individual thing. And that was the one thing I do like about it. Yeah. We were lucky, we had good children.
Yeah. If you could change one thing about modern society today, what would you change?
The criminal system,
Why?
it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. You can see this on television. It doesn't work. I think the wrong people quite often are getting away with murder. And sometimes innocent people suffer for it, but they didn't necessarily have to suffer for it. And I think that when they hand down sentences to some of these people that do some pretty horrendous things, it's not enough.
Yeah.
And in some cases, I do believe in the death penalty, especially for premeditated murder. I really do. I think that.
Yeah.
That's one thing I would change if I had an opportunity to do it, I would. Change there are too many damn lawyers to start with. And they have, in a sense, they have far too much influence. I don't like that. Just because they're professionals, I don't like that at all. And they're the ones that really, they make the balance. Their opinions are biased.
Yeah.
They have, and I think they have far too much power. I really do.
What decade was your favorite to live in?
Decade?
Yeah. Do you have like a favorite time period?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't know. Maybe I was in my 20s, I guess.
Why?
It was a period of time when I look back and realize there was a lot more freedom then for me, but I didn't recognize it at the time.
Was that because of like just because you were in your 20s, or because of that time period?
Well, because I was in my 20s, I just got out of the army,
Yeah.
thank God. And I didn't realize that the world was my oyster, and I never realized it until later. And I
Yeah.
look back and I think, I could have done so many different things, and I never did.
Yeah. How long were you in the army?
6 years.
Why did you stay that long?
Because when you sign on for 5.
Oh, okay.
And then the Korean War came on while I was in the army. And so they kept us on for another year.
Yeah.
Because they said at first we would have to stay in there till the Korean War ended, but it didn't work out that way.
Right.
And so they just kept me in for another year. So it's more or less 6 years, give or take a month.
And you were happy when you got out?
Oh yes,
Why?
very much. Don't like uniforms.
No.
I don't like people telling me what to do
Yeah.
with them. But in uniform, it's, well, you're obeying orders all the time, and you
Yeah.
don't necessarily agree with those orders,
Yeah.
but you have no choice about changing it. Do as you're told.
Yeah.
That's it, or else, right? Yeah.
What is your advice for someone staying healthy long term?
Eat properly, I presume.
Yeah. And you go on walks
try
like
and
every
keep
day.
fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, try and keep fit. I don't think you have to go overboard.
No.
I guess maybe I'm being a little unfair because we're all individuals. Not everybody reacts the same way to do, we all do different things in different ways. So maybe our health also is individual.
Yeah.
Depends on what we're capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just consciously being very careful what you eat, be very, very careful what you do, and just be sensible.
Yeah.
You just don't go overboard. Some people go nuts when it comes to exercise and stuff, You can see this when you go to gymnasiums.
Yeah.
People just overdo it. You've got to keep this up for the rest of your life, and I don't think any human has to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, I'm lucky we have longevity in my family, and some people don't.
How long did your dad live till?
99,
Yeah. And you're 89?
and I'm
You're 88 right
88
now?
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Stay out of the army.
Did someone tell you that?
Yeah, stay out of uniforms. Don't wear a uniform, whatever you do, because as soon as you do, you're already replaceable because
Yeah.
somebody else will tell you what to do,
Yeah.
and not necessarily for your own good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's the kind of advice I would give anybody. Stay out of uniforms. Do not presume that because you're in a uniform you're doing your country a favor. You're not. All you're doing is doing what somebody else wants you to do, and it may not necessarily be for your own health.
If you could only pass down 3 pieces of advice
Oh,
to the world or this generation, what would they be?
that would be the first one.
Yeah, stay out of the army.
Yeah, stay out
Stay
of
out of
uniforms.
uniform.
Don't wear a uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah, think very carefully before you act. I haven't done that a lot of times, so I've learned a lesson from that.
Mm-hmm.
Be very careful who you have for friends.
Yeah.
And don't ever allow people to influence you. Just do your own thing. That would be my way of thinking. If I had to do it all over again, I would do my own thing more than having to listen to other people. Like
Yeah.
we were saying before.
Yeah.
Yeah, your own opinion is far more important to you
Yeah.
than anyone else's is.
What's
So that would
the
be the advice I would give.
What's the third piece? One more.
But that would be it.
That was the second.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
What was it?
The first was the military,
Okay.
and then the second was that one. One more.
Well, without overdoing it, I would say just remember that one day you're going to be old.
Yeah.
And the way things are going right now, you're going to have to rely on yourself for your old age. Because no government is going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to do it all yourself. Once again, you'll be relying on someone else, and you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
And most people do rely on other things they believe because they're on this earth. The world owes them a living. And that isn't true. It doesn't.
Yeah.
So you have to rely on yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's it. for
That's
you.
it?
Yes, that's everything.
Oh, okay. That's all
Thank
right.
you so much.
You're welcome.